Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and start warming up, and we're going to start with shoulder rolls today. So we're going to take it thumbs pointing forwards and start really small, just nice, good up, back, and down shoulder rolls. Today we're going to be down on the floor quite a bit, so I might actually get a mat out today and have that down on the floor with me. Good, and let's take our shoulders down and back in our back pocket. And we're going to take our ears side to side, so just ear to shoulder. And remember, we're just starting to warm up, so we're also doing an assessment. So we're just kind of trying to see, how do our joints feel today? So I've already had one person say their back is a little sore. I'm like, I can see that. Standing in the kitchen for hours. Good, here's 2. And 1, let's bring it up. We're going to look to one side and look to the other. I'm kind of the opposite. I was super lazy yesterday. I kind of wish that I had done a normal workout in the morning, but I did not do anything yesterday. And we didn't have to do our supper. We didn't have to leave until almost 4. And then once I got there, it was more sitting. So, good, 2. And 1, bring it in the center, open and close. For those of you that use an Apple Watch, I have mine set to flexibility. And this is your reminder to turn it on. So I know a lot of people like to track that. But we did a non-traditional Thanksgiving yesterday. We grilled, actually. So we just grilled a couple steaks, a couple chicken breasts, and then garlic toast and all the fun stuff. So we just kept it super simple. There's only 4 people, so not a big deal. My mother-in-law said it was nice not having to do the turkey and the stuffing and everything else. Good, bring it in, and we're just going to swing the arms up and then swing them back. So sometimes it's nice to do a non-traditional meal for holidays. Good, here's 2. And 1. Let's tap it out to the side, reach across the body. Good, here's 4, 3, 2. Change the arms. We're going to take it up and overhead, and we're going to start to reach like we're washing the windows. So it's just a little side bend. Lengthen the side of the body. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. Arms out to the side. We're going to roll the shoulder blades down and back into our back pockets. Hands out, thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. So our shoulder blades are kind of packed tight against our torso, and we're just going to move from the shoulders down to our fingers. Let's go the other direction. And I always say start small. You can always make the movements bigger as you start to loosen up a little bit. Here's 2 and 1. Bring it in, and we're going to do our side bends, but this time we're not going to tap our foot out to the side. I want you to think about lifting up the ribs and keeping the hips, pulling them down a little bit towards the floor, lengthening that space between our rib cage and our hips. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Into the center. Feet hip width apart, toes pointing forwards like skis, and we're going to do our hip circles. So I would say, about 5 going one direction. Good. And we'll switch, and then we'll do 5 going the other direction. And keep an eye. Sometimes we don't even realize it. Good. Bring it in. Open up the toes so we're a little bit of duck-footed. You might notice that you kind of shift your weight into one hip a lot more than the other, whereas you want to try to do both sides. Good. Change direction. So I notice that I kind of shift my weight into my right hip a lot more. Good, bring it in. Now we're going to internally rotate, and the movement starts at the top of our legs, and we're going to do the same thing. So I notice that I kind of shift my weight into my right hip. So my hip circles are really only a half circle or a 3/4 circle. Good, change direction. And we want to try to get a nice, good circle. Although really it's probably more of an oval for a lot of us. 2, 1, bring it in. We're going to do our leg swings. Nothing wrong with holding on. I am still not quite sure I am awake this morning, so I am going to go ahead and hold on. I want to be able to focus on waking up my hip and not today, I'm not focusing on trying to keep my balance, because I do not know how that's going to go. Good, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, and we're going to switch it over to the other side. Same thing, always start with a small swing. Remember, we're assessing, we're seeing how things are going today. And we're just going to lift and swing it back. Core is braced, so we don't have an entire body movement and we don't have arching and rounding of our back. Just trying to swing the hips. Good, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to do our side leg. I like to put my hands on a wall, and I'm going to have good posture, but I'm going to be away from the wall a little bit. And I'm going to take it out with a little cross, out with a little cross. Now you can just bring it right to the midline of the body, or I like to make my cross bigger. And I am trying to go for distance. You know, how far out to one side can I go, and then how far out to the other can I go? But if your distance is here, that's okay. That's okay. We're trying to get those hips moving. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And we're just going to come out and we're going to cross. So out and cross. And then we can start to make it a little bit bigger. So we're getting a little bit of mobility on the standing leg, in addition to mobility on the leg that's actually doing the lifting. Good, here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in. I'm going to take our legs a little bit wide. So wide, toes forward or a little bit out to the corner. We're just going to do a nice good double and double. So it's a very gentle, I don't want to say it's a bounce, but it's a pulse. So a little pulse. So side and side. And I don't know if anybody can see, I really can't see it. I can just kind of see the color glow, but it looks like the sunrise this morning is going to be kind of pretty, because everything outside kind of has that pinky, a little bit of a pinky orangey glow to it today. Yeah, somebody's saying it looks good this morning. So I'm actually currently facing west, so I can't really see it, but I can see the reflection of the colors outside just a little bit. So if you have the chance to quick run over and see the sunrise this morning, you might want to. Good. Go ahead and bring it into the center. This is our forward hinge, our forward fold, and we're going to do front, middle, and back. We have to take the time to enjoy the little things, right? So front, middle, and back. It's kind of like, sometimes it's worth it to get up in the middle of the night to go look at the aurora, if you have it in your area. I'm like super grateful. I've always wanted to see it. And I know it's not like it would be if we were, above the Arctic Circle, but I've been able to see really nice aurora twice within the last year and a half or so. So I've been able to see some really nice auroras. And that's in the city too. I mean, that's street light in the backyard, seeing it right over my house. It's pretty neat. Good, one more time. Forward, center, back, standing tall, keeping the legs nice and wide, arms out to the side. We're going to start to add a little torso rotation to that side lunge. And it's okay if your side lunge in your rotation, or just, can I scratch an itch on my knee? Some of you are a little more flexible. Some of you are going to be able to touch your ankle or to touch your toe, but I want you to think about opening your top shoulder towards the ceiling. So it's okay if you're not getting your hand to the floor. We're really working on some torso mobility here. That's what I kind of want you to focus on, is that good reach. Good. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to take it into a plank position. I'm going to turn just because I don't have space. We're going to take it down to a plank, and we're going to do down dog and then back to plank. So we're going to hinge it back, down dog, and then back to a plank. If you want to stay standing today, at least for this part, do your down dog with your hands on a wall or your hands on the seat of a chair. And I always say that a lot. You're always able to modify based on how your body's doing today. So hinge, and then back to plank. This is activating our core. Good, last one. And bring it in. And I'm gonna go ahead and come down to my knees very carefully, because again, we're gonna start on the floor today. If you need to stay standing, you have standing options. This is your opportunity to quick grab a drink. So if you're standing, you can grab a drink and then come back down to the floor. And I think I usually don't use a mat. I'm gonna use one today because it's a little chilly and my floor is cold and I'm a wimp. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my mat out today. Plus, I'm sure some of you will be like, yay, I can actually see your legs and what you're doing today. So we're going to go ahead and start with a cat-cow. You can do this sitting, you can do this standing, whatever feels good for you. But we're going to start with a nice good hands and knees position, shoulders over your wrists, shoulder width apart, hips over your knees, hip width apart. We're just going to hold it here, and then we're just going to take a nice deep breath in, gentle arch of the back. And then we're going to exhale, and we're going to pull the belly button in. So we're just going to inhale, and then exhale. And the most important thing is, as long as you're breathing, I'm good. If you find that this bothers your hands, you can roll up the edge of your mat and place the heel of your hands on that mat. So that means that your heel, the heel of your palm will be higher and more elevated compared to the rest of your hand, and that's going to take some pressure off. You can also place something underneath your knees if you need a little extra cushion, or if that bothers your knees, instead of putting a rolled up mat under your knees themselves, place them below your knees, right at the top of your shin. So that means that you're supported and you're going to be kneeling, but you're not actually going to be kneeling on your knees. Your knees will be elevated off of the floor. Good. We're going to do one more cat-cow right here. So nice, good inhale, and then exhale. We're going to hold this position. We're going to sit back a little bit. So I want you to give your wrists a little bit of a break. And for this next one, we're actually going to work on our wrists a little bit. So you can keep the heel elevated or you can drop it down. But we're going to start with straight elbows, shoulders down and back. And we're just going to go a little bit forward, and then we're going to come back. So you can always start with your hands farther forward. So these can be not under your shoulders directly, but a little bit in front. And we're just going to try to shift our weight into our hands, bend the wrists a little bit more, and then come back. When we're working with our wrists, this is not an area where you go big or you go home, if you've ever heard that phrase. This is not an area where you want to push it, you want to try to go as far as you can. You just want to do gentle rocking, gentle movement. So forward. Good, one more. So take it forward and bring it back. Now we're going to take our hands and we're going to rotate from the shoulders And we're going to take our fingers so that they're pointing out to the sides. And now we're just going to shift our weight to one side and then shift our weight to the other. So one side and the other. And you don't want to have your elbows pointing out to the side and our shoulders in. I still want you to think about having that bend in your elbow pointing forwards. And your fingertips are going to point out to the side. And for some of you, just holding here is going to be enough. Or again, take your hands wider and then try doing your side-to-side movement. Just depends on your mobility and your wrists. I have to say mine has gotten so much better over the last few years. 2 and 1, good. Now we're going to take it, we're going to walk our hips back to our heels. Rest your hips on your heels. If you can't, you can put a pillow back there, a rolled up mat back there, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring our wrists in and we're going to rest on the back of our hands. We're going to rest on the back of our hands. And again, this is not when I don't want you shifting your weight into your hands. I want your weight back in your hips and your heels. We're still going to try to keep our elbows straight. You can see my elbows do not go perfectly straight. I kind of struggle. And we're just going to hold it. We're not going to do any movement today. We want the fingers to be straight. Weight is in our hips and our heels. If you want to add a little side to side, you can, but for me, just trying to get my hands to do this, then you might think, I don't know. Find what works. Find what feels okay. Good. Bring it in. We're going to take our hands out and we're just going to sit it back into a little bit of a child's pose. We're going to give those wrists a break. Spread your fingers, stretch them out, and just sit your hips back to your heels. You can add a little wiggle side to side if you'd like. Good. We're going to bring it back up to hands and knees. If you're like, I'm done being on hands and knees, you can do this standing. Hands are going to be against a wall. Shoulders down and back. We're going to do our scapular push-up. So back to our hands and knees position. Shoulders down and back in your back pocket. Belly brace. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then we're going to push. So squeeze them together. Push to separate. Squeeze together. Push to separate. So squeeze and push. The trick with these, keep the elbows straight. We don't want to turn it into a push-up, and we don't want to bring our shoulders up by our ears. So we want to think, squeeze the shoulder blades together and push, but everything else stays locked into place. This one might be a little tricky, and you might find one side works better than the other. So here's 2 and 1. Good. We're going to sit it back into child's pose again. Give those wrists a break. So you can give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit looser here. If you're not able to do this on the floor, you can have your hands elevated on a stability ball or elevated on the seat of a chair if you've got some yoga blocks. So you have variations. Here's 2 and 1. Go ahead and bring it back up to hands and knees. And we're going to take our legs a little bit wide. We're going to do a variation of up dog into down dog. So I'm going to walk my hands a little bit farther out. I'm going to shift my weight forward, point my toes, and very carefully lower my hips down to the floor. Open up my chest. We're going to tuck the toes under. Now we're going to lift it up and back into down dog. So if you're using a mat like I am today, I'm trying to get my pinky toes to the either side of my mat. Good. And now I'm going to go ahead and carefully bring my knees down to the floor, point my toes, and I'm going to lift. And again, you can do this with your hands on a chair. Good. Tuck the toes under, lift it up and back. Wide leg, down dog. So you can always do these at an incline. Good. Back to down on the floor, variation of up dog. Squeeze the glutes, open up the chest. Good. Last one, tuck the toes under, lift it up and back. into down dog. This is our last one. Good. Let's come down onto hands and knees again. This time, instead of being on our hands, we're going to be on our forearms. I still want you to try not to sit your hips to your heels, but try to come into a good forearm position. And we're actually going to take our left hand lightly behind our left ear, and we're going to open, and then we're going to close. So it's kind of a variation of open book. So forearm is on the floor, open, and then close. And you might think, oh, I can only open a couple of inches. That's okay. It's all about just trying to get a little bit of movement. We're trying to keep our hips and our lower body nice and steady while we open our torso. Good, one more. Open and close. And now we're gonna switch sides. So same thing. We're just gonna take our right hand lightly behind our right ear. Left forearm is on the floor, and then close. So it's just a good open and close. And try to think good position. So pull the shoulder blade down and back into your back pocket. So the arm that's on the floor isn't just, we're not just rolling into it. We're really trying to think good body position. Open and close. If you need to, you can do this with, on your hands, if that's what's going to work for you today, or even in a seated position. Here's two. Good. And last one. All right. And now we're going to walk our hands back towards our heels. We're going to sit our hips on our heels. Now, option one, right hand goes to your right heel. My toes are tucked under. Right hand, right heel. Open up the chest, squeeze the glute, and I'm going to squeeze, and I'm going to take my left hand, and I'm going to reach it up and back. If this is not for you today, I just want you to squeeze. Right hand, I want you to kind of reach it towards your right calf, and I still want you to take your hand up. So maybe you're just not going to go as far. If you're just standing, you can still do this exercise. Think squeeze the glutes, push the hip forward. Good, bring it in. We're gonna switch it over to the other side. So left hand, left heel, squeeze your glute, push your hip forwards, and then we're gonna take our right arm and reach it up. And again, you can just be right here, but I want you to think squeeze the glute. So it's less about opening, pressing into our low back, and it's really squeezing the glute, reaching it forwards. Good, in 3, 2, 1, carefully bring it in. We're gonna try doing both. So hands on the heels. You really have to open up your chest, squeeze your glute. And this is really gonna depend on your flexibility and your mobility. And if that's not for you today, squeeze your glutes and reach. So just like you're trying to scratch an itch on the back of your leg. Good, in 3, 2, 1. Carefully bring it down or come up, whatever's going to feel good for you. We're going to go all the way down onto our tummies, and we're going to do our scorpions. And we're just going to do a couple right side, couple left side. If you don't want to do this on the floor, you're going to come up to standing, and you're going to find a very nice wall or doorway. We're going to take our right arm out, so 90 degrees. Left leg, we're going to bend. Left hand is right by our chest. Keeping the right shoulder all the way down to your right fingertips. On the floor, we're just going to roll into that right side. We don't want to push our bodies up off of the floor. And some of you, this might be an amazing stretch. You don't even have to roll into that shoulder. If that's the case, then you're okay. Here's 2 and 1. Bring it in, keeping that right arm out. We are now going to take that arm out straight. So shoulder down, straight out to the side, palm facing the floor. Same thing. We're just going to roll into that shoulder. Roll into that shoulder. So just think we're getting a really nice good stretch in that shoulder, a little bit of chest, a little bit of biceps. You can have your arm against a wall and just turn your left side away from the wall a little bit. Here's 2 and 1. Bring it into the center. We're going to switch it over to the other side. So left hand, we're going to take it out 90-90. Right hand is going to be by the chest. Right leg, we're going to bend. Keep this arm close to the floor, and we're just going to roll into the side. I'm able to rest the side of my head on the floor. If your leg doesn't actually touch the floor, that's okay. This is just kind of a way to get a little extra mobility and to roll and get more body weight into that left side. But if you're good just being right here and getting a good stretch, then you're golden. Here's 2 and 1. Good. Bring it in. We're going to take that left arm straight out to the side, open up that shoulder, and then same thing, just kind of roll into it. So if you're really tight in the front of your body, this is a good stretch to do. Just modify it as you need to. Good. In 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back into the center. Both hands by the chest. Take a nice deep breath in. Push yourself up. Push yourself back. We're going to come to a seated position. Again, sitting on the floor, sitting in a chair, whatever's going to feel better for you. And we're going to do those figure 8s. So you can be cross-legged. You can have your legs out straight. You can do butterfly stretch. It's kind of whatever feels good. I'm going to swap because I always sit the other way. But you're just trying to find kind of a comfortable sitting position. We're going to take our hands lightly behind our ears. And we want to try to keep our ribs a little bit tucked. But we're just going to start side bend and side bend. So you can absolutely do this just sitting in a chair. Side bend, side, and side. Good. Now we're going to switch it up a little bit. So we're going to side bend right rib to right hip. Now we're going to open the left shoulder behind us like we're trying to look up towards the ceiling. Now we're going to do side bend left rib to left hip. Open the right shoulder back behind us. So right arm down, left shoulder opens, left arm down, right shoulder opens. And you can start to make it a little more fluid, but we're really just drawing a figure 8. Is kind of what we're doing. Now our trick, especially when you're sitting, is to keep both buns glued to the floor. Good. Here's 2 and 1. Good. Bring it in the center. A little bit of a shakeout. We're going to go for our 90-90s. So we're going to take our feet on the floor. Hands can be by your hips. A little bit of a lean back, but we're sitting tall, and we're just going to go 90 and 90. You can absolutely do this sitting in a chair. You're just going to be sitting towards the front of the chair, hands on the seat, and you're going to try to do your side-to-side turns while you're sitting. Good. Here's 4, 3, 2. Good. Hold it here. We're going to take it over to 90-90. Front leg, we're going to open it as much as we can. Back leg, you can bend the knee, relax it a little bit, but we're going to turn over our front leg and we're going to go forwards. And then we're going to come back up. So we're going to go forwards and then we're going to come back up. Apparently, I am so relaxed that my watch wants to pause my workout. Good. 1 more. Hinge. And then lift. Good. Now we're going to modify. We're going to take our hand and very gently press it down on the inner thigh. Your other hand, we're going to have it pressed flat against our foot. And what you're going to do is you're going to very gently press down on the inner thigh, and then your foot and your hand are going to press into each other. So let's just hold it in 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to relax, back off a bit, And then same thing. So gently press down on the inner thigh. Palm is going to press on the bottom of the foot. So we don't want to push down like we're trying to push it into the floor. Bottom of the foot presses into the palm. Palm presses into the bottom of the foot. There's 2 and 1. Go ahead, bring it up. We're going to switch it over to the other side. Same thing. 90-90, try to open the front leg as much as you can. Bend the back leg as needed. We're going to turn over that front leg, and we're going to just hinge it forwards. And then we're going to bring it back up. So if you need to do this one in a seated position, you're going to sit normally, and then you're going to see if you can cross your ankle over your thigh. They call this gentleman's stretch. This is also kind of a variation of pigeon for those of you that do yoga. Good, couple more. Hinge and lift. Good, and hinge and lift. Now we're going to take the hand, place it on the thigh, on the inner thigh. Other hand is going to be flat on the bottom of your foot. And we're going to gently press down on the inner thigh, and we're going to have our hand and our foot kind of go into a little tug of war. And I'm going to have a kitty. Good, rest. Hi. We're going to do that one more time. So press the hand into the thigh, a little tug of war here. Good. 3, 2, 1. Bring it up into the center, and we're just going to come onto a kneeling position. You can absolutely do this next set standing. So if you're not feeling this in the kneeling position, come up to a standing position and you will be good to go. But we're going to do our Captain Morgan. So we're going to take right foot out in front, and then we're going to open it to the corner or over to the side, but your shoulder, hip, and knee need to be pointing forwards. This leg, we don't want to let it kick over or kick over. We want to try to have everything nice and in alignment. We're going to squeeze the glute, stand nice and tall, and very gently press the leg out and then bring it back in. And this is definitely one that if you're in the kneeling position and it doesn't feel good, come up to standing. You're going to be in a variation of warrior. So you're going to do the warrior. You'll just be standing. But we're going to take it out and we're going to bring it in. So this is working our core, but this is also working those inner thigh muscles. Sometimes if you have hip pain or hip discomfort, this is a good one to do. You just have to find the movement that's going to feel good. We want to make sure, again, that we're not turning and that we're not hinging our hips back. We want to keep that tuck and that squeeze, and we want to keep this knee over our second toe. And I am apparently just an obstacle course now, so that's fine. It's okay. I see where I stand in this relationship. Last one. Good. Bring it in. And we're going to switch it over to the other side so we can give that knee a break. So bring the leg out in front. And again, you can just open it out to the corner. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can open it out to the side. And again, you're going to be using that outer thigh to help pull the knee and keep it in line and tracking. Tuck the tail, a little bit of a rib tuck, and we're going to go out and we're going to come in. You can adjust your foot position based on how this feels. So if your foot's really close and you feel like you're getting a lot of pressure in your knee, then you can always walk the foot out a little bit farther. Hi. No, you cannot sit on my lap right now. And apparently she disagrees. I know. You were starved for attention. For a cat that's this cuddly, you would not believe that she's kind of a jerk. And that the last time she went to the vet, they gave her 2 GABA and it still didn't work. Yeah, she's that awesome. Here's 2. And 1. Bring it in. We're going to switch it over. Oh, sorry, honey. Switch it over to the other side. We're going to take our leg in front. We're going to do hip flexor on the back leg, hamstring on the front. So tuck your tail, squeeze your glute. You're going to press it forwards. And then you're going to take it back and you're going to shift your weight back. And you're going to try to straighten your front knee. So we're going to do a little tuck, squeeze it forwards. And then we're going to take it back and we're going to straighten the front knee. Now this is a good one to do, again, standing, lunge position, and then you can do a little hinge and do your hamstring stretch. Take it forward and bring it back. I know, take it forward and then back. Good, one more time. Take it forwards and then take it back. We're going to switch, do the same thing on the other side. So nice, good half kneeling position. Tuck your tail feather, squeeze your glute, do a little press forwards, and then shift the weight back and try to straighten your front knee. And your back heel or your back hips do not have to go down to your heels. I know some of you can. So if you want to, you can always start to sit it back a little bit more. But if that does not feel good for you, then that's okay. You just shift it back and then you just try to straighten your front knee. So we're getting hip flexor, back leg, hamstring, front leg. Hinge. This is another one. We've done this before with this front foot on a chair seat. So that's going to work a little bit more balance. Good, couple more. So take it forward and then bring it back. And then take it forwards, and then bring it back. Good. Now we're going to take that front leg, pull it back a little bit. We're going to come up to a standing position. So standing position. We're just going to take a couple nice deep breaths in. So big breath in, spread your fingers, spread your toes, and exhale. Good. One more time. Big breath in and out. And you are all done. So no dislocates and band pull aparts today, but I highly recommend that you do them. So grab your band, you're already pretty warmed up, do your dislocates, do your pull aparts. Try to do 10 dislocates and then try to do 10 pull aparts, 10 right, 10 left, and then 10 both. So